All right, this is Math 3B Review. Your test is tomorrow, October 31st. Please work through the worksheet first before doing this review so that you are not just copying down my work, but doing it first on your own and then looking at my work to correct your own. So let's get started. Number 1, we need to add 15.8 plus 9.2. So the key with adding decimals is to line up your decimal points. Okay, your decimal points must be in a line. So then I just add like normal, and 8 plus 2 is 10, 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 1 is 15, carry my 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. My decimal and my answer stays in the same line as it is in the problem, and my final answer is 25. Number 2, I'm subtracting 37.8 minus 25.7. Okay, 8 minus 7 is 1, 7 minus 5 is 2, 3 minus 2 is 1. My decimals are lined up, and my decimal is lined up in my answer the same as it is in the problem. So my final answer is 12.1 for number 2. I'm going to skip over to number 5. So you're going to the top of your worksheet to number 5. I have 39.02 plus a negative 22.2. We worked on this a lot in class, our integer rules. Okay, my signs are different. So when my signs are different, I have to subtract the absolute value. So I subtract my big absolute value minus my small absolute value. Okay, 2 minus 0 is 2. I can't do 0 minus 2, so I gotta borrow. 10 minus 2 is 8. Bring down my decimal point. 8 minus 2 is 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have 16.82. And I keep the sign of the bigger absolute value. The bigger absolute value is 39.02, and that's positive. Therefore, my answer is also positive. Next one, I need to subtract 21.25 minus 15.17. Again, remember that our decimals must be in a line when we add and subtract. I can't take 7 from 5, so I need to borrow. But I can take 7 from 15, and that is 8. 1 minus 1 is 0. Bring down my decimal. I need to borrow to make that 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So my final answer to number 6 is 6.80. Next page, I am on question 3, and we are multiplying. When we multiply, we don't care if our decimals are in a line. So I have negative 5.5 times 21. So automatically, I know that my answer is going to be negative because of integer rules. I have a negative times a positive will give me a negative. So 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. My placeholder, 2 times 5 is 10, carry my 1, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I have 1155, and I need to move my decimal as many places in my answer as I do in my problem. So I move it once in my problem and once in my answer. So my final answer, is 115.5. Oops, and it's a negative. I just talked about that. It's a negative 115.5 because it's a negative times a positive. I'm going to skip over to number 7, so we're still multiplying. So I have a negative 12.5 times a negative 32.2. So if I have my smiley face rule, a negative times a negative is a positive. So I have 12.5 times 32.2. And 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Then I have my placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Then I need 2 placeholders. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, then I'm ready to add. So I have 0, 5. 5, 5, and 2 is 12. And that's 10. So I have 40250. And I need to move my decimal point the same amount in my problem as I do in my answer. So I moved it twice in my problem. And I need to move it twice in my answer. So my final answer is 402.5. Next one, I am dividing negative 84 divided by negative 2.1. So my answer is going to be positive because it's a negative divided by a negative. This thing will write. So I put negative 84 underneath my house and negative 2.1 out front. Okay, but we remember that I cannot have a decimal on the outside of my house. So I need to move that to the door and then move the decimal on the inside the same amount. So my new problem, which you're going to rewrite, is negative 21 divided by a negative 840. Because if I move my decimal here, I need to add a 0. So now I am ready to divide. So 21 goes into 84 4 times. 4 times 21 is 84. And that gives, subtracting. That gives me 0. Bring down my 0. 21 goes into 0 0 times. So my final answer on number 4 is 40. Number 5, I have negative 72 divided by 0.06, and my answer is going to be negative. So I have 72 divided by 0.06. I need to move my decimal twice to get it to the house, and I'm going to move my decimal twice on the inside of my house. So I have 6 divided by 7,200. I apologize for all the noise in the background, but Flight Crew is having their annual Halloween party. And although my door is closed, you can still hear them squealing in the hallway. So I apologize for the noise. But I'm going to keep going. 6 goes into 7 one time. 6, and I subtract, and it's 12. 6 goes into 12 2 times, which is 12, and 0. 6 goes into 0 0 times, and 6 goes into 0 0 times as well. So my answer to 7,200 divided by 6 is 1,200. Next one, this is the word problems, okay? We worked on this today. We need to underline what's important. So Janet earns $9.25 per hour. Last week she worked 40.25 hours, and she earned $27.75 in commission. How much money did she earn last week? Okay, so she worked 40.25 hours. Every hour that she worked, she made $9.25. So I need to multiply 40.25 by 9.25. Okay? And if I do that multiplication correctly, I'm going to pause this video and do it quick to save time, and then you can check your... And just like that, that is the multiplication that I should see. So I swoop the decimal twice, 3 times, 4 times. So in my answer, it needs to be swooped 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have $372.3125. Okay, that is how much she worked for working hours. Okay, but we know that money can't go to 4 decimal places. Money can only go to 2 decimal places. Okay, so if I round this, she is making... Oh, wait, I'm not going to round yet. Back up. So she makes this for her hourly wage, and then she adds on her commission of $27.75. Okay, and then I need to add those two together. So I have $372.3125, and I'm adding $27.75, and then I add zeros to fill in the places. So I have 5, 2, 6, 0, 0, 0, and 4. So I'm left with $400.0625. But I know that money can only go to 2 decimal places, and this number 2 is less than 4, so I keep my rounding the same. So she makes a total of $400.06. That is your final answer for that question. How much did Janet earn last week? Next one I have is Ralph finished his first lap in the 200-meter freestyle event in 28.76 seconds. That's important. He completed the second lap in 30.17 seconds. By how much did his time increase by the second lap? So I need to find the difference between 30.17 and 28.76. And I find the difference between these two by subtracting. So I need to subtract these two numbers. 7 minus 6 is 1. I can't take 7 from 1, so I need to borrow, but that's a 0, so I keep going over to the 3, make that a 2, make this a 10, so I can cross that, make this a 9, and finally make that an 11. And 11 minus 7 is 4, bring down my decimal. 9 minus 8 is 1, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So how much did his time increase? 1.41 seconds. Make sure you have a label. You must have a label tomorrow on your test. Next question. An apple pie has 27.6 grams of fat. It is cut into 6 slices. 27.6 grams of fat. It is cut into 6 slices. How many grams of fat are in 2 slices? Okay, not 1 slice, but 2. Okay, most of you will mess up on this problem by just telling me how many grams of fat are in 1 slice. So the first part of this problem is I need to divide 27.6 by 6. So 6 goes into 27 4 times. 6 times 4 is 24. And I bring down my 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times. So there is 4.6 grams of fat in one slice. But to find out how many grams of fat are in 2 slices, which is what the question is asking me, I need to multiply 4.6 by 2. Or I could add 4.6 and 4 plus 6. Same thing. Okay, these are the same problem. So that's a 12, and that's a 9. Bring down my decimal. Swoop it once, swoop it once. And over here, 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry my 1, 9.2. So how many grams of fat are in 2 slices? 9.2 grams of fat is your final answer. Make sure again that you have a label. Next question. Jordan used 32.46 gallons of gas to drive his car 584.28 miles. How many miles did Jordan go get per gallon? And we talked about in class today that it's miles per gallon. Okay, and this little line means per. So when you set up this division problem, your miles go on top, and then you divide by the number of gallons. So this turns into, in my division house, the top dog goes in the house, divided by the miles. But I know that I cannot have decimals on the outside, so I need to swoop 1, 2, and swoop 1, 2. So my new problem is 3,246 divided by 58,428. And this 3,246 goes into 5,842 once. So 3, 2, 4, 6. And then I subtract, and I get 2,596. Bring down my 8, and it goes in exactly 8 times for 2,596.8, which gives me 0. So how many miles did Jordan get per gallon? He got 18 miles per gallon. Again, make sure your answer has a label. Olivia had $10.25 when she walked to the mall. When she got home, she had $2.39. How much did she spend? Okay, so she had $10.25 when she went to the mall. She came home with $2.39, so this is a subtraction problem. So I take 10.25 and I subtract 2.39, and I got to borrow from this 2. 15 minus 9 is 6. Got to make this a 9. 11 minus 3 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. So she spent at the mall $7.86. So that is it for the word problems. The second part of this review will be the numerical response portion of the review packet. So please click on to the next video.